Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Daughter of Tarshish and what happened to her. But before we get into the video, I do regular biblical videos on Mondays. Every Thursday is a Warhammer 40k lore in the Bible series. And then my new channel, His Word Only Reacts, is where my react videos will be from now on. And if I've earned a like and subscription, please consider doing so. Alright, now let's get started. So we're going to start in Genesis chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were the sons born after the flood. Now this Japheth line is going to, can't really name it just yet, but I will here in the midpoint. So, and unto them were the sons born after the flood. Okay, the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, and Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, this is where the Ashkenazi Jews come from, and Riphath and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish. Now this is what I want you to pay attention with, right here, Tarshish. See how old this place is. Kittim and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Now, I want you to pay attention to this isle part, because this is going to come into play with the lady that it's part of, we'll just say, or the owl. A lot of you guys know who I'm talking about when I say the owl. Okay. We're going to move on. Now, we're going to read all this, and guess who shows up here? The Assyrian. And his little cockatrice is going to come into play with the flag of this place, we'll just say. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 23. The burden of Tyre. How, O ye ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste. Interesting. So that there is no house, no entering in. From the land of Chittim, it is revealed to them. Be still, ye inhabitants of the isle, thou whom the merchants of Zidon that pass over the sea have replenished. Okay, what is this isle? Isaiah 34:14. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl shall also rest there, and find herself a place of rest. Who is this screech owl? Right here. Lilith. Right there. It's all right there. Now, Lilith is not the first wife of Adam. That's bunk. But there she is. This would be the kind of the queen of heaven, you know, the goddess of Egypt, or Inanna. And look up a picture of Inanna. I can't show you here because of the graphic nature of it, but she's got owl feet. She's got owls with her. Very interesting. I would encourage you to look up a picture of Inanna. Okay. So that's the Isles. And this place also has a flag of an owl. There's a flag of a cockatrice and then a flag of an owl. Some people are probably starting to put it together what I'm talking about. Okay. Be still, ye inhabitants of the isle, who merchants of Zidon that pass over the sea have replenished. And by great waters of the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river is her revenue, and she is a mart of nations. Be thou ashamed, O Zidon, for the sea has spoken, even the strength of the sea, saying, I travail not, nor bring forth children, neither do I nourish up young men, nor bring up virgins. As at the report concerning Egypt, so shall there be sorely pained at the report of Tyre. Oh, wait a minute. So pass over to Tarshish, how ye inhabitants of the isle. There's the isle again. And wait, Tarshish is right there up with Egypt? Huh, that's interesting. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. Huh. We're getting there. Who hath taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes? whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth. Sounds like today, doesn't it? The Lord of hosts hath purposed it, to stain the pride of all glory, and to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Pay attention to this part. Pass through the land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord hath given the commandment against the merchant city, that's Tarshish, to destroy the strongholds thereof. This place that I'm referencing as the Daughter of Tarshish was destroyed by a mud flood. So, very interesting. And he stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. And the Lord hath given commandment against the merchant city to destroy the strongholds thereof. And he said, Thou shalt no more rejoice, O thou oppressed virgin, daughter of Zidon. Arise, pass over to Chittim. There also shalt thou have no rest. Behold the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not till the Assyrian founded it for them that dwell in the wilderness. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So now we're going to be talking about Tartaria. I mean, we're still going to finish up Tarshish, but there's this, conspiracy theory called the Tartarian Empire, right? Well, look at this. So we got one of their flags as a cockatrice, and we saw the Assyrian was there, right? So Isaiah 14, let me show you that it's talking about the Assyrian first. And if you don't know, the Assyrian is in second command. There's Satan, and then there's the Assyrian. And he shows up a lot. All you have to do is watch my past videos, and you'll see him show up a lot. Okay, so right here, that I will break the Assyrian in my land. So this is that Lucifer scripture. Okay, so let's move on a little bit further. Right here, verse 29. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent, or a seraphim. Again, cockatrice, right there. Isn't that something? Not only that, it's also got an owl. Isn't that interesting? So we got a cockatrice and an owl. We got the screech owl, right here, Lilith, on the isles, right? And also shall meet with the wild beasts of the island, okay? And a cockatrice that's connected to the Assyrian. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Isaiah 69. Surely the isles, there it is, shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from afar, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day or night, and the men bring up these forces, or that men may bring up unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Interesting. Ezekiel 27:25. The ships of Tarshish did sing of thee in thy market, and thou wast replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. Thy rowers have brought thee into great waters. The eastern wind hath broken thee in the midst of the seas. Thy riches and thy fares, thy merchandise, thy mariners and thy pilots, the caulkers, and the occupiers of thy merchandise, and all the men of war that are in thee, and all that company which in the midst of thee shall fall into the midst of the seas in the day of thy ruin. Doesn't sound too good. Now, one thing you'll hear about people who bring up Tartaria, they act like it was this best place in the world and they were giving free energy to everyone, whatever. Well, there's a reason why God took it out. Okay? And Japheth, let me see if I can find something. Hold on, not that. Do. Okay. There's a lineage thing that shows the Tartaria. Voyage into Tartary. There's a book there. Okay. Let me see if I can find it in pictures. No. But one thing you'll find out is Japheth, right? We have here Japheth. First off, the sons of Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. These are a bunch of Nephilim. Okay? Or at least had a big Nephilim genome in them. And Ham, I think, had some too as well. Sometimes you can find a picture of this Tartaria thing and it shows you the lineage of it, but I haven't been able to find it. So, anyways, so we'll move on from that. I read this, I think, already. No, I haven't. Okay. Now we're right here. Esther 1:14. So here we go. Here it is again in this other time, right? With Esther, sorry. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shatar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Mersina, and Mumakan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face and which sat the first in the kingdom. Okay. Psalm 72:10. The kings of Tarshish and of the isles, there it is again, shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Sheba shall offer gifts. Okay. 2 Chronicles 20:37. Then Eleazar the son of Dodavah and Marisha prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, Because thou hast joined thyself with Uzziah, the Lord hath broken thy works. And the ships were broken that were not able to go to Tarshish. Interesting. Jonah 4:2. And he prayed unto the Lord and said, I pray thee, O Lord, was not this my saying when I was set in my country? Therefore I fled before unto Tarshish. There it is again. For I knew that thou art a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger, and great kindness, and representest thee of the evil. Was it this? Okay. So, Tartary was a blanket term used in Western European literature and cartography for a vast part of Asia, bounded by the Caspian Sea, the Ural Mountains, Pacific Ocean, and the northern borders of China, India, and Persia. There it is. At the time when this region was largely unknown to European geographers, the active use of toponym place name can be traced from 13th to the 19th centuries. In European sources, Tartary became the most common name for Central Asia that had no connection with the real polities or ethnic groups of the region. Until the 19th century, European knowledge of the area remained extremely scarce and fragmentary. In modern English speaking tradition, the region formerly known as Tartary is usually called Inner Asia or Central Eurasia. Much of the area consists of arid plains. The main nomadic population, which was the past or in the past, was engaged in animal husbandry. Yep. Ignorance surrounding Tartary's use as place name has spawned conspiracy theories, including ideas of a hidden past and mud floods. See what they're doing? They're hiding it. Let me show you. All right. So now this is a document from the CIA. Right here, you guys can see at the top, CIA.gov. So National Cultural Development under Communism. Muslims of Russia. So why are the communists always in league with the Muslims? You ever wondered that? You know, like the people of the message today are always aligned with Muslims. Why is that? Because they're supposedly anti religious, right? Check this out. Muslims of Russia, Tartars of the Volga and Crimea, Kyrgyz and the Sarts of Siberia and Turkestan, Turks and Tartars of Transcaucasia, the Chechens, the mountain peoples of the Caucasus, and all whose mosques and prayer houses have been destroyed, whose beliefs and customs have been trampled upon by the Tsars and the oppressors of Russia. Sounds familiar today, doesn't it? Henceforth, your beliefs and customs, your national and cultural institutions are forever free and inviolate. Organize your national life in complete freedom. This is your right. Even though they totally ransacked the history and made it in their favor, but you're going to see that here in a second. Where is it? Here? No. Okay, right here. Yeah. Or let us take the matter of history, which, along with religion, language, and literatures, constitute the core of a people's cultural heritage. Here again, the communists have interfered in a shameless manner. For example, on 9th of August 1944, the Central Committee of the Communist Party, sitting in Moscow, issued a directive ordering the party's Tartar Provincial Committee, interesting, to proceed to the scientific revision of the history of Tartaria, to liquidate serious shortcomings and mistakes of nationalistic character committed by individual writers and historians in dealing with Tartar history. In other words, Tartar history was to be rewritten, let us be frank, was to be falsified in order to eliminate references to Great Russian aggression and to hide the facts of the real course of Tartar-Russian relations. And this was no isolated case. In every Muslim area within the USSR, historians, on orders of the Communist Party, have rewritten history to distort the facts so that the Russians appear always in a good light. Needless to say, histories which present the facts truthfully have been withdrawn and destroyed, so that the present and future generation of Muslims are forever denied the chance to learning the true facts of their nation's past. So you see why they're together. You'll see some people with the tattoo that'll have the crescent moon and then the hammer and sickle. Very interesting. All right. So we're going to watch this. Now you see TV. It's The Lost Kingdom of Tartaria and the Ancient Key to Uncover History. And this talks about the mud floods and all that. So we're not going to go through the whole video, just different parts of it. Okay, so
vastly interesting, and I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to do that. And I also want to thank other channels, and I got a couple clips from some of those things. And I don't claim to be an expert on this subject by any means, and neither does David. We've researched this. We probably put about 40 hours of research together on this subject, and though I feel like we have a very good grasp of what it's all about, there are.
By the way, this is called The Lost Kingdom of Tartaria and the Ancient Key to Uncover History.
A lot of people that have been doing a lot of research for a long time on this, but we're going to do our very best and actually tie some things together that I don't feel like a lot of people, if anybody, and now there's hundreds of videos on the subject that have tied together. If they have, then I apologize. I haven't gotten a chance to look at all the videos on this, but nonetheless, this is going to be pretty interesting. So here we go. So in Tartaria, we have this interesting phenomenon. We have these maps of Tartaria, and we have these ancient maps that cover large amounts of Russia, and even some cover a part of the North America. If you see here, these areas highlighted in yellow, you see this with almost all of Russia and China here, and then you see all of America as well. And I've got you guys can see the pointer here. Hopefully, I'm kind of going over this, but you have this stuff, and I have to say that one of the reasons that I even did this subject to begin with, people were bugging me about it, but then I was stayed at this Airbnb, and it was near Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's some good stuff. There it is. There's the owl and the cockatrice.
Describe what we're actually looking at as far as this stuff goes. And we also have in history, which is another interesting thing. I found this before I looked into the scripture about it, which should have been the first place I actually went, was the scripture on it, but I just didn't know what I was looking for. You have these tablets, and there are 3 tablets discovered in 1961 at a Neolithic site in the village of Tartaria in Romania. And the tablets is difficult to date. They've tried to carbon date them, and they're uncertain on it, but some scientists date around 5300 BC, but most of the sciences are a newer age around 2750 BC, and the maximum of 3300 BC, which is the period of Sumerian writing. And
okay, so let's go to the mud flood part here, because they can explain it better than I can. Where is it? Hold on, let me find it. Okay.
Tartaria, at least what it looks like. Of course, like David said before, this is all, we look at this stuff as possible. We weren't there to see it happen, but there's definitely evidence of these things. So we have this theory of the mud flood. And then on this picture here, I have a landslide that happened over the city, and you can see that the mud has crept over many of the buildings and completely just kind of wiped out the level. The sea level is a higher sea level now. When they build on that mud's going to harden up like rock almost, and people are going to be building their city on top of that. And we see we did a show about the red-haired mummies, and and this is in Kentucky, all right, and we have these all over the United States as well. This is not just to this area, but we see civilizations built on top of one another, like Lexington, for instance. You pointed out. Tell a little bit about that, David, about that show. But the show, I believe, is Ancient Red-Haired Mummies, I believe.
Yeah.
Underground City, something.
Did it with John and Patty Hall. Yeah. And the historical record of Lexington, Kentucky, which I have at home in my library, you can buy it for yourself if you want to.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Landslides that happen everywhere. This is a little video that I'm going to talk over, but you have these videos of these massive landslides that happen, and we don't know exactly how all of them happen. Some have to do with erosion, rivers underneath them. Some have to do with earthquakes shaking the rock foundations of the mountains and the land sliding off of them like water, covering up certain parts of the cities. this happens all over the world. Now, like David said before, and like I don't believe this was a worldwide reset of mud flood. I believe there's certain cities that definitely this was a reset for those cities, because when you have an event this tragic that comes and covers your entire city, you're going to have major deaths. You're going to have land masses. In reverse, it has the U.S. Mercury dime coin. It has it on there, and U.S. House of Rep, and it's got usually.
You have to evaluate them and see if they are biblically and historically credible.
Very true. And so this is no different. This subject right here that I'm getting ready to show you guys here, and I'm going to turn the mic. This is so this thing right here. If you guys, well, if I can go to the next one. Okay. This thing right here is what we call a fascia or fasces. Most people pronounce it fascia, I believe. And
that's where that far right wing comes from. That's where they get that. Okay. So you can find YouTubers and stuff. They'll show you pictures of the mud flood and all that. But you got to be careful with that, man, because there's a lot of them that are fake, or just they're building a house on a hill, or a city on a hill or whatever. So you got to be careful with that. But it is very interesting when you look into it. All right, now this video is from the YouTuber Eridan, and it's called Mud Flood, Tartaria Punished by God. Okay.
It is here where the theory of the mud flood is found. It was a mass extinction event which led to the depopulation of the whole earth. The remnants of what was left are located in every country. Whether by today's world they are rich or poor, they once shared the same architectural choices, hinting at a united peoples or former empire. It was the death of the rulers of old, the ending of royal bloodlines, which manipulated the world into war. This removal extended from blood to brick, as it is a shared belief within the mud flood community that the mass bombings seen within the First and Second World Wars were to erase evidence of a history that could not be explained. However, many structures survived, and it is by looking into their reported creation and purpose where the told narrative begins to fall apart. John Levi, a person and channel that has been active in this field for many years, recently released a video titled Old America Ruins. He showcases many structures with inconsistent narratives, and towards the end of this video, he reveals his upcoming book. I have chosen to use these buildings as beginning examples, as the sources are diverse and not from Wikipedia. As John highlights, the people documenting the supposed historical records are somewhat perplexed at how these structures are seemingly thrown up in a year or two.
That is
First, the
interesting.
Baldwin Hotel, located in San Francisco.
I mean, that's very interesting. I mean, you'll see it like some people say the World Fair that was put up in like a year or something. I forget. I mean, and then you'll see these buildings all of a sudden just come up out of nowhere. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest with you.
San Francisco, the narrative tells us that it is a 19th century luxury hotel and theater built by a millionaire. An extremely wealthy individual overseeing the design and construction of these intricate giants is all too common. These individuals were not responsible for just one, but multiple, all across the United States and Europe. This alone should raise suspicions. As within their lifetimes, they were able to quickly erect dozens of palace-like buildings during a period where wars were being fought, extreme poverty was commonplace, and horse and cart were the only means of transportation. Carts, whose wooden spoke wheels had to travel across unpaved roads, up and down the country, and who would buckle under weight. The Baldwin Hotel was 200,000 square feet and was built within 1 year. 23 years later, it would succumb to a fire, resulting in its demolishment, where today another building is in its place. When researching the history of these buildings, it too is commonplace that a fire resulted in their destruction, leading them to be abandoned or completely demolished.
And that happens a lot. I mean, shoot, look at the Quasimodo place that burned in a fire or something like that. They had the same kind of architecture of these buildings. So, interesting. Interesting. Well, I forget what it's called. Notre
For our
Dame.
next example, we take a look at the Palace Hotel, located again in
Cathedral
San
of
Francisco.
Notre Dame or something like that.
The hotel was the result of a banker and entrepreneur who invested $5 million into its construction. It covered who is credited with introducing the Beaux-Arts architectural style to San Francisco. Fortunately, unlike the other examples, this building survived its fire and reopened in just 5 short weeks after the event. I could continue to give examples, as they, like their weak narratives, are endless. However, that is not the point of this video. The reason is to get you to question your surroundings and the history you have been told. It is exactly whose history we have learned which is the driving force of this video, as it is his story that does not match up. San Francisco was singled out due to not only the buildings, but the city as a whole, whose origins are questionable. Another channel, who goes by the name of Geomancy, released a video titled Star Forts, Intro to Resets and Hidden Black History. Within part 1, he showcases a panorama picture that was taken in 1878. As he points out, he, nor I, when watching this, knew of technology and quality that was available during this time. This photograph was taken from an elevated position, where the boats upon the water, far off into the distance, can even be seen. The picture showcases a complete city, taken 29 years after a large population was said to appear, with only shovels and pickaxes at hand. The city, its streets, its roads, windows, lampposts, and buildings, that even for the time appear to...
Huh. I didn't see this part. I kind of went a little bit further than I was expecting, but that is interesting.
predate this already old period, was constructed before the electric drill of 1889 was invented. So, if the city is established
That's interesting.
and its people are housed and homed, then why are the streets empty? Where are the workers who defied what we thought was possible for their period? Perhaps they were off building another city in record time. Photographs such as this give an example, and countless others which showcase empty streets or a small population inhabiting buildings and cities that they seemingly are unable to fill, are all too common to come across when researching the 1800s. Therefore, it is within the 1800s that the mud flood is accepted to have taken place. In a video titled A Bird's Eye View of History, John Levi discusses maps of cities made within the 1800s. This video and showcased locations are what may help explain the existence of the 1878 panorama shot of San Francisco. A drawn map illustrating Seattle in 1889 was created by a mining and real estate brokers and auctioneers named Llewellyn, Dodge and Company. As is the case with San Francisco, Seattle is looking impressively complete for its period. The illustration even highlights key buildings along its edge.
Let me see. Here we go. Okay, let me see. Let me get to this part here. Okay.
However, when we do walk these old city streets, there are details that seem to be an odd choice. Within Geomancy's video titled America is the Old World, Reset Observations and Explorations Part 2, he showcases on-the-ground footage from many locations within the US, all across America, Britain, Europe, and the world. You will find windows going below street level. This is the main source for people's belief in the mud flood. An event caused the earth and water, creating mud, to be spilled out across the continents. The people who came to inherit after this cataclysm then reformed.
It was only against Tartaria in the city, in my opinion. The people who say that it was a great reset and stuff like that, there's no evidence of that, right? Just these cities, right? But anyways,
formed from the level that they were now stuck with.
Again, let me bring this up again, right? Not that one. Pass through thy land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There was no more strength. He had stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord had given commandment against the merchant city to destroy the strongholds thereof. And then, of course, we got the Assyrian here with the cockatrice, all that, right? And then we got the screech owl. So, I mean, there was this place, in my opinion, and God is the one who destroyed it. They were not a great city, or I should say, they were not good people, right? God destroyed them for a reason. But you won't hear that in the Tartarian community. Usually what you hear is it's this great city and or great empire, and they were trying to help everybody and give everybody free energy, and that's not what it sounds like. It sounds like they took from the poor and and all that. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
Windows were dug out to allow for light, but many others were bricked up.
So something happened with water, with this empire.
Leaving the obvious evidence of an arch. Bridges whose details seemingly sink and continue into a hill does not make sense. Form follows function, and if it was never intended to be seen, then why did the people of old put so much effort into it? When conducting this research, you will come across photographs of city streets whose buildings continue to go down into the earth. These buried segments feature doorways and windows as if they once went out into a now non-existent street level. To return to a bird's eye view of these city streets, again we are reminded that form follows function. So exactly what was the intended function? The answer is in the word electricity. In Geomancy's video titled Philadelphia, a city layout based on the Kabbalistic tree of life, he points out how the word electricity cannot be complete without the word city. When viewing any city from a bird's eye perspective, they very much resemble a circuit board. A printed circuit board, commonly referred to as a PCB, is used in almost all electronic products. They serve to transfer, transform, and to maintain electrical current. We, as humans, are beings who survive via electrical currents. Electricity is required for the nervous system to send signals throughout the body and to the brain, making it possible for us to move, think, and feel. As is pointed out by the previously mentioned Geomancy's video, Philadelphia is laid out in accordance to the Kabbalistic tree of life. To quote a website that supports this satanic inward study, this not only serves to showcase how this knowledge is linked to the devil, but to confirm that these methods are ungodly and goes against the Most High, Yahweh. Quote, "The tree of life is one of the most familiar of the sacred geometry symbols. The structure of the tree of life is connected to the sacred teachings of the Jewish Kabbalah."
Again, we gotta be careful with that name, right? A lot of that comes from Kabbalah or Kabbalism. So, anyways, you're fine just calling him God, okay? And the Bible literally tells us that no man knows his name, okay? With Jesus, where it says he has a crown and on his forehead was a name that no man knew. I'm guessing that's the name of God. But anyways.
But can be seen 3,000 years earlier in Egypt. It is possible to see the tree of life structure in many places around the conscious universe. The structure is represented in nature and relates to the flower of life and seed of life. Satan, also known as Lucifer, which means the bright and shining one, since he was the most magnificent and
on this channel, we know Lucifer is not Satan. He is a man. I'll show you that here. Which one? Okay. Right here. Not here. Come on. What's going on now? Come on, internet. You can do it. There we go. All right. Verse 12, Lucifer, son of the morning. Okay, let's go to verse 16. Oh, come on, internet. I'm sorry, guys. I'll read it from here. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Right? Lucifer is a man, and he in Hebrew it's Hallel ben Shahar. Shahar is a Canaanite god. I don't think Satan is the son of a Canaanite god, right? So, anyways,
brilliant angel ever created was a
we're probably see if I can find any more. We've been over the star forts before, so that was interesting, though.
Intro to Resets and Hidden Black History, Part 1, Geomancy discusses the subject of star forts. The narrative tells us that this universally shared shape and structure began in the 15th century. Originating within Italy, they serve as a bastion, holding gunpowder, cannons, and troops. As showcased, Geomancy displays the incomplete yet seemingly innumerous locations of each star fort. If we are to believe that the 300 found locations of Geomancy's research were built within the 1500s, then that in itself should raise suspicion. Much like the Capitol buildings of countries, these star forts showcase a style that has been replicated worldwide, something that is only possible if the people of the time did, counter to the narrative, have worldwide available travel, or an empire uniting these peoples. The narrative tells us that they are located at points such as the coast as to deter invasions. But the positions of the forts do not reflect that. If they were to be invaded, then these countries and their positioned cannons can be easily circumvented by going to the left or right. As highlighted by Geomancy, it would appear that these star forts, even the ones located within hills, valleys, and mountains, have a consistent purpose, and that is to manipulate water. What is glazed over as to be a simple moat by the narrative are actually examples of the art of geomancy. To quote Feng Shui Society, traditionally geomancy is under the control of earth elementals, like the I Ching, the tarot.
These would be the stoicheion in the Bible that Paul talks about, right? You know, that be under the weak and beggarly elements of the world. He's talking about the stoicheion there. You know, and he literally calls them gods right before that, right? So he's not talking about the law. He's talking about these gods or these elemental spirits.
Or any other divination system. It is simply a means of communication with the unconscious mind. This is how the 17th century geomancer Robert Flood understood geomancy to work. He described the making of marks upon which the geomantic chart is based in words which are today used to explain the movements made by the pendulum or divining rods used in dowsing.
Alrighty. So there you guys go. Very interesting stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something from it. And in my opinion, Tartaria is in the Bible of the Daughter of Tarshish. Right? And who these people are the founders of it. Where is it? This lady, the Screech Owl, right? Lilith, right here. The Screech Owl. Oh, come on. It's being slow today. You guys seen that before, so. And then, oh, goodness gracious. Right here. Oh, come on. Anyways, rejoice thou, O Palestina, that smote thee is broken, for out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice. Right? This stuff. So, thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.